Hello, everyone. How are you all doing? My name is Carlos Ranchetti, and this is another episode of the Student World Prime Choices. As you're starting to get familiar with, here every Wednesday at this exact same time, which, as I always say, it can be morning or afternoon or evening, depending where you are in the world. We show you here in the Prime Choices. We explore a topic and show you many different options, right? What the worlds have best in terms of study abroad opportunities. On today's episode, we will be talking about MBA programs, right? We're gonna explore this immense opportunities, like this incredible programs that you can pursue. Right. So today we have two amazing institutions. One is HEC Paris, considered one of the very best in the world. And also among them, we have Loyola Marymount University from LA, the US. So talk about MBA programs with two great options, one from the US, the other one from France, from Paris. So we're going to show them to you, and we hope that you can, make up your own mind and see which one is best for you. All right. So now, guys, let me play a quick video to introduce you to the institutions that will be on with us here today. So first, let's take a look at HEC Paris.
I'm from India.
I'm from Brazil.
I'm from New York.
I'm from Morocco.
I'm from Lebanon.
I'm from Shanghai.
And I'm from Benin.
We have more than 60 nationalities. We have 93% international participants.
You're meeting so many people from all around the world. I've never lived in such an international environment.
Coming here exposed me to different cultures, different perspectives, different views.
I think through all of that is a lot of mutual understanding, also a lot of friendships that get built.
They're also coming from a breadth of different professional backgrounds. What this means is that you get to take advantage of their experience, they learn from you, and you learn from them.
And when you gather all these different people with all this different background, you create real new propositions.
Our class size is capped at 300 students. You're not in an auditorium with 200 people, you're in there with 50, 55 students.
And then you form really deep bond with people who work around you, and that's something that HEC offers uniquely.
I think we've given all of the benefits of a 2-year program in 16 months. So the ability to transform personally, professionally, but also not to take so much time away from the workplace. You kick it off with a fundamental phase, so all of those courses that you need to understand business as a whole. One of the unique parts of the HEC Paris MBA is that you can customize your MBA. So in the second half of your MBA, you're able to do an exchange, an internship, an MBA project, and or a specialization.
So that's HEC Paris, our first guest. But now let's take a plane and cross the Atlantic all the way to the west coast of the US at Loyola Marymount University. Beautiful, huh? Guys, now I'm going to invite to the stage these two guests. But before I do that, just don't forget to like this video if you enjoy, if you think that the content that we are providing here is useful, it has helped you, because again, this is our goal. We want to help you achieve your goal of studying abroad. We want to help you get there. Okay, today, for those of you planning your MBA, we're going to do our very best to make sure that you leave this session, this live, more informated and more aware of everything that you need to do and the options out there. All right, so don't forget to like this video. If you didn't like, that's okay to give your thumbs down as well. Anything that can help us know if we're in the right path. All right, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel, because as I mentioned, every Tuesday, every Wednesday, we are back here with more opportunities. Now, with no more, with further ado, let's invite to the stage our two amazing guests, Bill and Araceli. Hello, guys.
Hi. Thank you for having us.
It is such a pleasure to welcome both of you here. Let me start with you, Bill. Bill, how are you doing today, and where are you talking to us from?
Oh, thank you. Today's actually pretty great. I'm actually located in Los Angeles, so a little bit north of where the Loyola Marymount University campus is. It's beautiful, sunny outside, just as LA usually is. But yeah, other than that, today's pretty good. So.
Amazing. Araceli, how about you? Oops, I think you're muted, or we can't hear you.
Oh, yes, sorry, I was muted. Yeah, I'm doing well. So I actually grew up in Los Angeles as well, but I'm now based in Paris, and it's about 9 p.m. here in Paris, and it's still light outside, so it's pretty nice, pretty good weather right now at this time.
Very nice. Guys, we have today an audience coming from many different parts of the world, which I always like finding amazing. We have here Huda from Iraq. We have Quinter from Kenya. It's 10 p.m. there. It's getting late there. But who else? We have Norma joining us from Mexico, 2 p.m. there. We have Yara from Brazil as well, 4 p.m. in the afternoon. So it's always good because, you know, we get to experience like such a diversity when it comes to our audience. And we hope that they will be as engaging as they have been before and send lots of questions. So please, guys, send all the questions you want. We would love to answer to all of them. Again, you don't have to send questions. You can send comments. You can send suggestions. You can send whatever you want. Just make sure you join this live with us and you make it super interactive. All right. Okay. So, all right. Before we start, can you tell me a little bit about your background for both of you guys? Like, what did you study, and what are you doing for the university? Maybe we can start this one with you, Araceli.
Yes, sure. So hello, everyone. My name is Araceli. I'm one of the marketing and recruitment managers for the HEC Paris MBA program. So regarding my background, I actually studied international business back in LA. And then I moved to France, where I studied business development. So right now, as I mentioned, I'm working for the HEC Paris MBA program as a marketing recruitment manager. So what this means is that I work closely with candidates. So making sure they have all of the information that they need, guiding them and helping them as they are going through the application process. And then, of course, the best part, welcoming them on campus.
Cool. Just as more people join us, Eduardo from Venezuela, Joaquin from Argentina, Nayeli from Ecuador. Wow, we're going to get like at least one person from each country of Latin America, which is amazing. How about you, Bill? Can you tell us a little bit about your background and how you end up working for Loyola? Oh, for Loyola, sorry.
Yes, of course. I actually grew up in the Bay Area, so I'm from San Francisco area, but now I'm living down in Southern California. I am actually one of the assistant directors of admissions for the College of Business at Loyola Marymount University. I did complete my MBA, not at LMU, unfortunately, but I did that when I was down here in Southern California. So, you know, we do offer many different programs aside from MBA. You know, we do have one-year master's degrees, but yeah, so I mean, I've been at LMU for just about 2 years now, and it's been great. So.
Cool. Again, guys, this will be a live focus exclusively on MBA programs. All right. So please use the chat to tell us a little bit about like your plans and your goals, or what kind of MBA program you're looking for. And we would love to use your comments as a way to guide our conversation as well. But so kicking up this conversation, guys, I wanted to start actually bringing this question to you, Araceli. What is the right moment for people to, pursue an MBA program?
Yeah, sure. So I really don't think there's a right or wrong moment to start an MBA, but working closely with candidates, I can say that many do decide to pursue an MBA when they feel that they reached a plateau in their careers, or when they want to achieve a career transformation, whether that be changing functions, industries, or geographic locations. And then, of course, there are many students who perhaps want to start their own venture. So an MBA essentially will give you all of the skills that you need to develop yourself personally, professionally, will allow you to enhance your leadership skills as well, and just grow your network.
Yeah, absolutely. Bill, what do you think, in your opinion, like when you, like most of the students that in your experience, you have assisted, you have helped, do they come is there kind of a pattern in the moment that they come and they start looking for this, or it really varies?
Yeah, actually, Araceli took the words right out of my mouth. That's exactly what I was going to say. So from my experience, my background is also financial aid, working at other graduate business schools. But the most common reason I get is because people would like to, they either hit a ceiling where they feel like, hey, I can't get higher, so I need to take that next step to get my foot in the door towards a director or manager level position, or they just want to change industries. If they have a education that's in one field, but they say, hey, I kind of want to transition into a different field or different industry, the MBA program will definitely help get their foot in that door, because it is such a robust program.
Absolutely. It's so, and the other thing I wanted to ask you guys is that, at least for me, before I started like researching about it, I had I think, and most of people think this, we have an idea basically, or an assumption, that there is only one type of MBA, one fixed program that, people go through. But when you start like looking into, there are actually many differences between the MBA's offers out there, right? I wanted to like cover this so the audience, like, they get like the idea of the diversity of MBA programs that are out there. So can you like share a little bit of your perspective on that, Araceli?
Yeah, sure. So I think when it comes to MBA programs, when candidates start to researching MBA programs, they might find that there's a lot of similarities between different programs. But then as they start digging a little bit deeper, they'll find that there's so many small differences that can make all of the difference. There are programs, of course, that offer specializations. So this is quite interesting because, of course, with the MBA program, you will hone in on all of your business skills. But then if you have an idea of a particular sector or job function where you want to end up post-MBA, then you can actually gain hands-on experience while you're pursuing your MBA program, whether that be through an internship, an MBA project, electives around that field of your interest. And then, of course, there's also part-time programs, there's executive MBA programs, and the list goes on and on.
Yeah, and Bill, like, this is you both mentioned this and before, that perhaps like the main reason why people tend to pursue an MBA is related to their career, like, right, what they want to do, which career path they want to follow, or some people, as you're mentioning, reach like a kind of a glass ceiling, or some others want to shift in their careers. So it's always like it seems to always be related, very career driven. Let's put it this way. Depending on the industry you are, or the industry that you want to focus, is there one or other MBA program that you should look to?
That one kind of goes in the air. I mean, in regards to finding the right MBA program, you really want to research and study different universities, different programs, different formats, whether it's do you prefer online, do you prefer in person, do you prefer hybrid? There's always those. But the one thing that a lot of students or prospective students like to learn about are areas of concentration. For example, here at LMU, we do have 3 areas of concentration. So it's not just a general MBA. You can either elect, marketing, finance, or entrepreneurship. So your second year will be aimed heavily into that, area of concentration. So one of my one of my bits of information, like tip to find the right MBA program, is really just do your research to see if there's a specific university or school that offers that concentration that you really want to hone into.
Yeah, and Araceli, so what would be like the tips that you could give to the students out there who are not sure yet how they can actually find the right program for them?
Yeah, of course. So I think really doing their research. Of course, there's going to be some things that align closely with what they want to do or what they're looking for in a program. Perhaps connecting with the recruitment manager or admissions officer might be the best first step so that they have all of the information that they need. But also to get a sense or feel for the program or what the potential classmates might be like. So connecting with students, connecting with alumni, attending some of the events to kind of see if it's the right program for you, if you can picture yourself, in the classroom with these types of students and peers. I think this is really important, of course, outside of the basic research that candidates typically do when they're looking for different programs.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, guys, as you know, here, and the name of this show is Prime Choices, because we explore like very good options when it comes to a particular subject, in this case, MBA programs. I wanted to dive in to the MBA programs offered by your institutions, right? So how could you describe the MBAs that students can find? And maybe we can start this one with you, Bill. When people ask, oh, but what is what's the MBA offered by Loyola like? What do you usually tell them?
Yeah, so here at Loyola, the number one question I usually get with early on is just what makes our program different than other programs. And that one's hard to answer because, we don't know what other universities offer. We don't know what their layout is, what their concentrations are. But one thing that we do know that students do love are our small, intimate class sizes. Our last cohort, I believe, was 53 students. So each class size is usually around 25 to 30 students. So you really do get that intimate learning experience, not only with your classmates, but with your professors as well. They may know, hey, the professor may know, this student has a background in finance and this one has a background in fashion. So you really get that one-on-one connection. And then you're not in a big, huge, massive classroom with 300 other people. Like I said, it's a very intimate learning experience. And that's just something that really makes our MBA program stand out compared to some of our competitors within the LA area.
And and you were saying that before that you have like 3 different fields or something, right? Specializations, I think was the word maybe that you use. Which were them again, and which one is good for who?
Yeah, so we do have the 3 areas of concentration or specialization. So we have the finance, we have the marketing, or the entrepreneurship. So the way the program is structured is your first year is going to be general core courses for MBA programs. So upper management, finance, accounting, HR, info systems. And then your second year will be aimed very heavily into your area of concentration. So if you did marketing, you'll have international marketing components. You'll have international marketing analytics or just marketing analytics. So it'll be very aimed towards that. Or finance will be, finance heavy. Entrepreneurship will be entrepreneurship heavy. So we do have those 3 areas of concentration that are available for students. In regards to who it's the best fit for, I believe it would be where you decide to take your degree. If I'm currently working in marketing and I want to become a director of marketing, of course, I would pick the marketing concentration to really sharpen my skills so I can really hit the ground running when I do land that director role.
Cool. Araceli, Bill was mentioning that when we ask like what makes your programs unique, it's hard because you're not aware of what others are offering. But so let me switch this question and ask maybe what makes your programs a great option for students then?
Yeah, sure. So I think one of the special things about HEC is the program length and the fact that it's completely customizable. So our program is a 16th month full-time MBA program. We feel this is the ideal timeline because it's not a 2-year program, so you won't be out of the workforce for too long, but then you have enough time to really gain hands-on experience, specialize, do an internship, get to know your classmates, forge those relationships with your peers. And then, so the program itself, of course, you will learn the fundamentals of business, but then the next part, which is the customized phase, you can really choose, based off of your interest or perhaps your post-MBA career objectives. So this is quite special for many students because the program is not going to be the same for everybody. You basically choose your own path. We also have career services. So we have a career team that works closely with the students and helping them achieve their post-MBA career objectives. So having a look at their profile, understanding, what their goals are, what is missing, how can they fill those gaps, and then help them select which option might be the best for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love these 2 points that you guys raised, Bill, the fact that the classes are very are small, so you can really like build up the personal relationship, right, between the professors, but also between yourself and the other students. Because one of the big things about one of the main advantages, at least in my point of view, for you to make your MBA is the networking that you're able to do, right? So these connections, they will really most likely have the potential to open lots of doors when we talk about your career, right? And then Araceli, building up on the same thing, she was like building up this personalization that you can actually make of your program, which for me is another thing that makes fantastic, because we each have different interests, different goals, and everything. And so these 2 points that I really I believe to be like some of the main things. But I want to bring here some of the interactions we're getting from the audience here. We just got a message in Arabic, so Huda, I have no idea what that means. Maybe my team can help me out translating that one. But again, guys, keep sending your questions. We're going to be trying to address them as they come. So we're going to bring the question from Marcos Peralta here. I'm going to put it here on the screen. He's asking, is business experience necessary? He said, I want to graduate and do an MBA. So I'm assuming Marcos is still doing he's still in university. We're going to cover, obviously, the requirements that you need later on, but can you briefly just say what does Marcos need in order to apply for his MBA? Maybe we can start this one with you, Bill.
Yeah, definitely. So from my experience, I do know that most MBA programs do require some sort of work experience. I do, for example, here at LMU, we would like to see at least 2 years of work experience in a professional setting. So whether you worked at, let's just say a coffee shop as the manager, that'll be totally fine. Or you can be an accountant, whatever you'd like. Yeah, so I do know with most business programs, they do like to see work experience, but I also do know that there are some that don't require any. It just depends on what their program structure and the requirements are.
Yeah. What about in HEC, Araceli?
Yeah, so similar to what my colleague here said. So at HEC Paris, we require a minimum of 2 years of professional work experience. However, the minimum years of professional experience is 6. But of course, it can vary. We have students that joined with 2 years of professional experience, some that have 10 years of professional experience. So I think the important thing when you're looking at professional experience is, not the years of experience that you have, but maybe the quality of experience and whether or not it's, you feel it's the right time for you. Because with the MBA program, of course, you will learn a lot from professors, but we're also looking for individuals who also can share their knowledge with their peers. So it's a collaborative learning experience in the program. So this is why having a minimum of 2 years of professional experience is required.
And how about our question there from Quinter? Thanks, Quinter, for interacting with us. Does it need to be an experience in your case and in the U.S. or professional experience in their home countries also count?
Yes, absolutely. It can be professional experience from anywhere in the world. So it doesn't have to be from outside of your home country. Of course, if you have international experience, will help your application stand out further, but it's not a requirement.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Bill, we've covered in general what are the programs offered by Loyola, but I wanted to ask you, like, what is the type of what's the teaching methodology there? Because we're talking about a program that it's very, very career focused, right? Mm-hmm. So can students expect a more practical learning, a more theoretical learning? What can you tell us about the teaching methodologies?
Yeah, so here at LMU, I do know that it's very student-centered teaching, student with like a good amount of tech per se. So tech as in, we do have like the Bloomberg terminals. We do have lots of simulations that you do take in class as if they are real life things. And then we also do have, client projects in a way as well. So client as in like capstone projects, there you go. So so it is a very student-centered teaching style there, where our program, we actually did design it for working professionals. So you are able to attend classes. It is a part-time program, so you can complete it in 21 months, but you can also stretch it out to 36. Classes do take place 2 days a week in the evenings. So, if you are, if you happen to come here and you are working full-time, you don't have to quit your job or cut your hours. It is very doable, and it is, like I said, very student-centered, where the professors really do work with you and your schedule in order for you to get the best learning experience.
Great. And Araceli, how about in HEC? Is it a more like hands-on experience? What kind of teaching methodologies can the students expect if they decide to apply to study there?
So I would say it's a combination. So of course, in the classroom, perhaps in classes like accounting or finance, they're going to be a little bit more theory-based. But then in other classes like strategy or marketing, it's going to be more of a hands-on learning approach. And then another thing about HEC is that we have the leadership component embedded in our program curriculum. So this is very hands-on. Of course, the students will learn the theories behind leadership, but then we also offer many opportunities for them to put these leadership theories to the test.
Wow, that's very interesting. Very, very. Guys, the other thing I wanted to ask you, and again, we're getting like more questions here. Thanks, Alma, for your comment. He's saying here, the challenges are finance, obtaining the visa, and guidance on how to proceed with the processing. I'm assuming he's talking also about the application. If that's the case, we're going to cover that, Alma, in a few minutes. We're hoping that we're gonna be able to explain you more or less what you need to do in terms of the application process, so it's clear for you. But I wanted to ask you guys, what skills can the students expect to develop? Because Araceli, you just mentioned now a particular focus on the development of the leadership, right, in each of the students, which I find it like an extremely a good idea. But what other skills can students expect that they will be able to develop throughout the program as well? Maybe we can go this one with you, Bill, first.
Yeah, so one of the skills that'll definitely be sharpened in the MBA program will actually be your critical thinking skills. That's something that is very predominant in MBA programs, because when you guys do a project, whether it's an individual project or a group project, you guys need to look at the big picture, because just like you stated, they are teaching you to become a manager or a director or a senior level anything, and you're going to have to be managing finances, budgets, hiring, marketing. You have to be managing all of that if you are like head of a department or even a business owner. So yeah, one skill that I do know will be sharpened is your critical thinking skills, just to really get a look at the big picture. Flip side of the coin, you know, any terminology you want to throw with critical thinking is something that you really pick up in the MBA program.
Yeah. And how about in HEC?
Yeah, so I want to echo on what Tom here said. Definitely, critical thinking is, you know, super important when you're pursuing your MBA program. But another thing that I do want to mention here is collaboration. So our program at HEC is extremely diverse. We have 55 different nationalities in the program. So when students join the program, they're actually placed in different study groups. So it's very collaborative, and we want the students to be able to adapt to this global environment, gain new perspectives, learn what it's like to do business in China versus business in the Middle East. So I think this is something that is quite important. And the professors themselves, they'll organize the groups or set up the groups to ensure that there's enough diversity in all of the groups.
Yeah, and this was another question that was later on, but I want to bring it since you brought that up, the diversity element, right? Because again, we're talking about like preparing yourself for the real world out there, and we are facing an even more like connected world. We're doing business with people from all over, basically. Like we barely have borders anymore when it comes to doing business. Having an experience during the program dealing with people from completely different cultures can be very, very rich, right? Can you tell me a little bit about like what's the composition of students, of countries, of nationalities in your institutions? We'll start out with you, Bill.
Yeah, so here at LMU, I mean, of course, this past year was kind of a big wrench thrown in everything with COVID, so our numbers are a little bit skewed. So we do have, I believe, about like 44% of students of domestics that identify as a domestic student of color. So that means they are in the U.S. However, they don't identify as white. You know, they might be Asian, they may be like Hispanic, Latino. You know, so they do identify as that. And I believe the number of students that are international, maybe around 10% or so. But like I said, this is because of the whole COVID pandemic. A lot of students do, because traditionally our program is an in-person program. So a lot of students do want to come to us for in-person learning. So I do feel that it is a tiny bit skewed there. Also kind of touching on demographics, I believe when it comes to like the male-female ratio, we actually had a higher female class this year. So I think it's 60% female, 40% male. So that's kind of a little bit of like the student diversity here at LMU.
Cool. And how about in HEC?
Yeah, so for the class of 2022, we have 280 participants, 55 different nationalities, 94% international student body. So hopefully this gives you an idea of how diverse the class is. But it's not just in terms of nationalities, it's also in terms of professional background. So in the class, you might find ex-professional rugby players, ex-CEOs of different companies, architects, doctors. So it's pretty incredible in terms of diversity.
Absolutely. And guys, now I wanted to check with you like about the tuition costs, right? So what can students expect the tuition to be for a regular MBA program at your institution? How about for you and in HEC?
So currently the tuition fees are about 74,000 euros, which I think translates to about 93,000 USD. Not exactly sure what the rate is right now. But I think it's in Europe in general, for MBA programs, you'll typically pay less than in most US programs.
And that's for the full program, for all the
full-time
16
MBA
months
program.
that you mentioned.
Yes.
All right. Okay,
Yes,
cool.
and then if we're looking at what the expenses might be like outside of the tuition fees, we actually surveyed our students to get an idea of what how much they're spending, how much other students should budget for. So we sent out a survey, and the answer was 25,000 euros for the 16th month program. So I think this is quite reasonable. But of course, if you want to drink champagne every night, then it might be much higher than that.
Well, in Paris, it's hard to say no. but how about in Loyola, Bill?
Yes, so here at Loyola, our MBA program is 51 units, and it's 1,464 per unit, which tuition is equivalent to around 74,664 in US dollars for just the tuition. However, we don't include like the university fees, textbooks, as well as our international study trip, only because those fluctuate year to year. We would estimate the entire cost of the program, including the university fees, books, and the international study trip, to be around 86,000 US dollars for the entire 2-year program.
For the entire program. Okay, cool. And what's the total length of the program there?
You can, if you decide to go for the 21-month, that's our shortest one you can do. That's typically what students do, but you can also stretch out to 36 months.
All right, and that would be, I'm assuming, the part-time option.
Well, the program is part-time. It's just in case somebody, let's just say they land a new job and say, hey, I need to take a semester off or whatever it may be, they are able to push it out to 36 months.
Cool. So, okay, so they are part-time. Are they part-time as well in HEC?
No, we just offer full-time.
Full-time, okay. So full-time means students would have classes every day during the mornings or afternoons. Can you tell a little bit about how it is, the daily?
Yeah, of course. So typically students will have class Monday through Thursday. So it can start as early as 8 a.m. and then end maybe around 5 p.m. And then Fridays, they don't have class because Fridays are dedicated to careers. So careers is also part of the program curriculum. So it's not something that we start to think about, later on once they're once they're about to graduate. It's something that we start guiding our students with from the very beginning.
Yeah, cool. And guys, can you mention a little bit about the extracurricular activities that students will have access to, if there are in your institutions? We'll start this one with you, Bill.
Yeah. So there's actually a lot of extracurricular activities that we offer here at LMU. So the one thing that all students are really a fan of are our number of student organizations that are available. So we do have there's the Accounting Society, there's the African Student Association, there's even organizations or student clubs where you guys have movie nights, movie and wine night club, so they have a lot of those for students. And it doesn't have to always be accounting or work related or engineering club. They do have, if you identify as LGBT, they do have couple LGBT organizations for students that want to feel accepted. And of course it's a very accepting campus, and it's LA. So they have everything for everybody. And aside from the student organizations, they also do have sports. So students are more than welcome to look into soccer, to football, to softball, to weightlifting, to track and field. So we do have lots of options for MBA/graduate students to look into.
Cool. And what are the most popular extracurricular activities students tend to pick there at HEC?
So there's quite a few. So we have over 25 professional networking clubs available, but we also have different cultural weeks organized by the student clubs. So I actually attended one last Friday, and it was the Africa Culture Week. So typically students will organize these culture weeks throughout the year. And again, this allows students to discover new cultures, try the food. Sometimes they get guest speakers from that particular country as well. My personal favorite, though, was during the India Culture Week, where the students actually organized a fake Indian wedding. So that was pretty interesting.
Oh, wow. A fake Indian, but I love it. You know, one of the things that I really want to experience in my life once, hopefully, is to be able to be invited to an Indian wedding. Because apparently it's like a celebration that takes like days, right? It's not only like here in the West. Have you guys been to one, any?
Just the fake one, not a real one.
Just the fake one, okay.
Hopefully in the future I get to attend one.
Yeah, I've never been to one. My friend has, and it's exactly what you said. It's like a whole weekend party of food and dancing and
Yeah, it's crazy. But guys, now let's move on. By the way, before we move to the next topic, which is career, exploring the career opportunities, I want to invite you guys to, interact more with us here today. I'm feeling like we had some nice questions at the beginning, but now people are only listening. So let us turn this into a more personalized live for you. See, it is Van. It is Van was also here yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right? It is Van. I remember you. Everybody went, yeah, I remember you. But anyway, moving on. Let's talk about the career opportunities, right? Because as we talked at the beginning, the reason why people tend to go after and pursue MBA programs is their career focus, right? So I wanted to actually ask you, Bill, is there like, which career paths can students take from like, or can pursue once they get an MBA? I know I can expect the answer, but I'll give it the option to talk about it anyway.
Yeah, it could be a huge range with an MBA. You know, an MBA is a very broad, robust degree, and you are learning the full scope of business management. And then kind of making it personalized, like let's just say you pick that area of concentration, that just sharpens your skill into that. So, I mean, I have my MBA and I'm in education. You know, I know people that have their MBAs and they're in tech. I know some that are in automotive, so it goes all over the board. But I do feel like, to just like really hone in on an answer, an MBA can just open so many doors for anybody, just like how we stated at the way beginning of this conversation. Like if you hit a glass ceiling and you need that to get your foot in the door to be considered for management roles, then by all means, an MBA would be an amazing degree to have. But then also if you wanted to say, hey, I want to transition out of tech and I want to go into food and in the food industry, like this can also be a step to do that, or even open your own business.
Yeah, Araceli, when it comes to building your future career, MBA seems to be a very useful tool that you can actually build any kind of future you want with that too, right? But I wanted to ask you about, like, during the program, what doors does HEC opens for students in terms of like the opportunities to work with companies that perhaps has partnerships with HEC? And yeah, so can you tell us a little bit more about these opportunities?
Yes, of course. So during the program, I think there's many opportunities for students to connect and engage with companies. So one of the ways that they engage with them is through case competitions. They organize student treks as well, where they're meeting with these companies from all over the world. Many students, I think about 80% of them actually, do an internship while they're still enrolled in the program. So whether you start the program, because we have 2 intakes, right? One in January and one in September, you have the option of completing an internship no matter when you start the program. So I think this is something that is quite popular for the students, especially if they want to pivot to a different area. That way they gain that experience before they start applying for full-time positions.
Cool. And how about in Loyola? Loyola is in the tech hub of the world, right? California. What kind of opportunities does Loyola offer to students in terms of internships or other connections to companies that they can end up working for?
Oh yeah. So kind of just to recap what you said, like we are located. I'm sure you guys all heard of Silicon Valley up in the Bay Area. We actually have a location down here called Silicon Beach because we are like 2 miles from the beach. But so yeah, I mean, when it comes to like networking opportunities and some of the doors that open, like less than a mile away from our campus, we have Google, we have YouTube, we have IMAX, we have, I believe Sony, like PlayStation, Northrop Grumman, like, so if you want to get into aerospace, United, we have all of them right close by us. We're really close to LAX, so if you really wanted to work in aerospace, that door opens for you. I do know that we also work with a lot of nonprofits and startups as well in the area, because of course, if it's a tech field, there's going to be a lot of startups. So there's some companies that are like a stone's throw away from us. We do have a department on campus called CPD. It stands for Career and Professional Development. They will help students that are close to graduating or students that are currently in the program look for open positions, internships, resume touch-ups, interviewing, cover letters, LinkedIn, professional headshots. They help with everything just to help you really, get full use of your degree so you can get your career started or move on up in your career.
Yeah, absolutely. And as being like a part-time program, they would have like the time to do that while studying. How about, like, just to clarify, so what about, like, these are the opportunities during the studies, right? How about after the studies, once they graduate, are they allowed to remain in the US for a period of time to have an extra experience, or no?
I do believe with the MBA, you do get 1 year after. Unfortunately, it's not a STEM designated program, so you don't get the 3 years, but I do believe you get 1 year where you're able to stay to get some experience, in the working field.
Cool. All right. And how about in Paris, in France? So can students work while they're studying? It will be a bit tricky because it's a full-time program, right? But how about after their studies? Are they allowed to stay in and work for some of the companies that you have mentioned before?
Yeah, so actually, with their student visa, they're allowed to work for up to 6 months. Of course, since students are still enrolled in the program, they typically will do an internship, so this will count as their work experience. But then once they graduate, they get an extension to this visa. So this will allow them to stay in France or remain in France for up to 1 year until they secure a job. And then, of course, once they secure a job, then they'll get a work visa, which is typically valid for 4 years. So it's a pretty straightforward process
Wow.
here in France for the visas.
Very interesting. So they can actually remain for 4 extra years. Wow. Yeah.
So I was just going to add to that. So I know I mentioned a little bit about the international cohort at HEC, but I think it might be important to also mention that most of the students do remain in Europe post-MBA. So
Cool.
About 60% will remain in Europe.
Yeah. Once you live in Paris, it's hard to leave, isn't it? Guys, can you tell us share a little bit about where your alumni are in the world? Like, where do they end up to, most of them? Or is there like something you can share that can motivate or serve as an example for the folks that are watching us and considering study? Bill?
Yeah. I got
Sometimes I forget to direct the question to one of you, and I'm like waiting, But yeah, Bill, let's go with you.
All right, that works. So yeah, actually, some of our students actually, it's kind of hard, because we do have some students that come from out of Los Angeles area, like some come from the Bay Area, some come from the East Coast, and I think it really just depends on what they choose to do with their degree. So sometimes they do go back home. I know I've spoken with a few students that, are from like Singapore or, they're from Korea, and they say, oh, I want to do the entrepreneurship focus so I can learn how to manage money and search for investments. And I want to go back home to Korea or go back home to Singapore, wherever it may be, and start my business there. So I think it's kind of hard to say where they exactly go, because a lot of the times some opportunities land on your plate when you're close to graduating that you didn't expect to happen. But when it comes to like companies, a lot of them tend to go towards like more like in the tech field, only because we are really located in like a tech hub here. So tech and aerospace. So a lot of them do tend to go towards like Boeing, Northrop Grumman, Google, YouTube, IMAX. I believe Fandango as well, but that's more like on the movie entertainment side. Of course, we're close by Hollywood, so a lot of people do go to like Warner Brothers, to apply for jobs there. So it's kind of hard to say where they go because, like I said, a lot of people get opportunities close to when they graduate, and then they're like, oh, this is not what I originally planned, but it's also a great opportunity. I think I'm going to take this and run, so it's
always keep an open mind. Yeah. How about you, Araceli? Where are the alumni from HEC?
Yeah, so I agree with what Bill said in terms of how sometimes students have an idea of what they want to do post-MBA, and then once they're in the program, it will change completely, whether that be function, geographic location, or just industries as a whole. But I would say that most of our alumni, or the three most popular areas where our alumni are working in is consulting services, financial services, and tech. But then, of course, you also have many alumni in luxury, healthcare industry, automobile, all sorts of different industries. So it is pretty diverse in that sense. And then in terms of geographic location, we actually have alumni in over 130 countries. So I think almost anywhere you go, you'll find an HEC alumni. And then, of course, there's some cities that are a lot more active than others when it comes to the alumni network. So I think New York City is one of the largest alumni networks that we have.
Cool. Guys, you know what? We've been hosting these lives for quite some time already. And I always find myself like running out of time because it's already like, it's 52 already past 9. So, which means that we have less than 8 minutes. And it doesn't feel like we've been talking for 50 minutes, right? So I'm going to have to get things going a bit faster. So before we, I just wanted to talk about the destination side, because here at the Student World, we always talk to students that, hey, take into account where you want to study as well. The institution is important, very important, but also the city, the country, because you're not going to be spending 24 hours inside a classroom. You're going to be experience a different culture, interacting with a different in a different society. So that is important. So my question to both of you is, why LA? Why Paris? So let's start with why Paris.
Yeah, certainly. So I think first, why not Paris? It's an amazing city to be in, and I think most students enjoy that they're able to travel to almost any European country over the weekend. So it's a great opportunity for travel, getting to know other people from other cultures. It's an international city, lots of professional opportunities as well. And then, of course, I think the city life, it's just amazing in terms of restaurants, museums. So it's a great place to be, really.
Cool. Why not LA then, Bill?
And it's funny. It's the exact same response as Araceli. Like it's LA. There's so much here. It's not only do you get like the amazing Southern California weather, but you just get people always say like, oh my God, are there celebrities everywhere? Because everybody just thinks, oh, LA, you see celebrities just walking around like normal. So that's a huge thing. The networking opportunities, just like we mentioned a few moments ago, like when it comes to possible career moves, like the tech and startup hub is starting to boom here. There's just so much to go. There's so much in LA that you can experience not only as a student, but even as like a working professional. Like when you guys go out and like take a vacation, you can go to one part of LA and then you drive on the other side and you're like, wow, I have no idea this was here. I didn't know LA was so big, So there's just so much to explore and experience here.
Absolutely. I've been to LA, never been to Paris, but it's on my list. Yeah, so guys, just thanks, Oma sent us a quick question here. We're gonna get to that, Oma, in a few minutes. I'm gonna have we're gonna dedicate the final minutes here to address some quick questions. So please shoot your questions now. All right. But before we move on, it is funny to say it's hard to choose two great options, right? Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Guys, I want to ask you about can you briefly explain if students how is the application process like and what do they need to do? What steps do they need to follow? I'm also going to ask for our team to start putting the links here on the chat, the link for the application if they want, and so on. So yeah, please, let's start with this one with you, Araceli.
Yeah, sure. So at HEC, we have a pretty unique application process. So we have rolling admissions with deadlines almost every month. And then students or admitted students will receive a final notice, or they'll know whether or not they have been admitted within 5 weeks. So it is a 5-week application process. Of course, there's going to be those basic requirements that you need to apply. We mentioned a couple of them, such as 2 years of professional experience, a GMAT or a GRE test, 2 letters of recommendations. So these are the requirements. And then the process itself, it's pretty straightforward. So once you apply for any of the monthly deadlines, we have a pre-selection jury where we will look at your application holistically. If you are pre-selected, then you move to the next round, which is the interview round. And you'll have about 3 weeks to complete the interview round with 2 HEC Paris MBA alumni. And we'll ask you to do a 10-minute presentation on the topic of your choice. After these 3 weeks, of course, we'll get the feedback from the alumni. We'll have the final admissions jury. So by week 5, you will know whether or not you have been admitted. So it's a pretty quick process. I think most of the the work happens before the application as you are preparing, connecting with the admissions, recruiters, getting to know the students.
Yeah, cool. So we just put it here on the link, guys, the link for the application if you want to apply for HEC. I'm also going to ask our team to put it here, the contact information for HEC as well. So basically, after this live, if you want, again, if you have questions that you want to ask, if you liked what you heard about HEC and you want to, ask more questions, get to know them, then you can use this link here that it's on the screen, but we're also going to put it here on the chat. Okay. So please, we do encourage you to go ahead, ask all your questions, get in touch with them. They will love to help you out, to, assist you. And hopefully you can find yourself at HEC, or you can find yourself in LA as well, right, Bill? So what is the application process like for Loyola?
Yes, it's actually very similar to HEC, actually. So we actually also do rolling admissions. So we do have application deadlines posted. However, you do not need to stick to those. Those are mostly just benchmarks. So for example, if you need a student visa, we say apply by this date. By all means, you're able to apply 3 months prior, and we'll review your application as it comes in. So the admissions committee will take a look at the application holistically. So that means they take a look at your resume, your personal statement, your transcripts. We don't require letters of recommendation, so that saves you a step. But if you have to take a GMAT or a GRE exam, we do take a look at all of that. So typically, I would say it's also very similar to HEC, where it does take around maybe 4 to 5 weeks to receive a response or some sort of what's the word I'm use connection from our office regarding setting up an interview and then receiving a decision. So it is very similar. The application is pretty straightforward. And then I believe the only thing that we do require for international applicants would just be the TOEFL or the IELTS, unless you received your undergraduate degree within the US.
Cool. Guys, we just put it here as well, the link for the application for Loyola Marymount University on the chat. So feel free to click there. And here on the screen, the contact information if you want to ask more questions about studying your MBA at Loyola Marymount University. Guys, and just if you could briefly give us an update of the current COVID situation there in Paris and in Los Angeles, and if there's any restrictions in terms of international students going there and studying at your institution. Maybe we can start this one with you, Bill.
Yeah, so actually numbers have been drastically going down, and California is supposed to open back up on the 15th, so less than a week. So we are hoping classes are going to be back to in-person for fall. However, once things open up, it's still going to be all up in the air. So if anything, it may be a hybrid mode, and hybrid mode may be, for example, let's just say it's a Monday, Wednesday class and there's 30 people, maybe 15 people are in there, 15 people are live streaming, and on Wednesday it's flipped. So it may be like that, but we are hoping things will be back to in-person for fall with COVID drastically going down, and of course with safety precautions still in place.
Yep, fingers crossed. How about in Paris?
Yeah, so as Bill mentioned, it's very unpredictable, so we don't know what the situation is going to be like in the fall. But right now, things are improving in France. Restaurants started reopening, stores as well. For the students, they've been following a hybrid model for the moment. So they're able to sit in the classroom in person, and then the other half of their section is following the same class online, and then they're rotating. But we do anticipate and hope that by September 2021, everything will be slowly or back to normal the way it was. So hoping for that, of course, with safety measures in place.
Yep. Okay, guys. So before we finish, I'm just going to put it here, a question from Omar, because I don't want to leave any questions behind. From Oma, sorry, Oma Licha. Maybe. So how can one secure a job while doing an MBA, assuming it's part-time? So we'll start like very briefly with you, Bill, if you can help Oma out.
Yeah, so here at LMU, you are able to work with the Career and Professional Development Department to learn about openings, but also we do have grad assistant positions available for students on campus. So if you don't have transportation, or if you just wanted to work part-time, you can always work with the Graduate Admissions Office, which is, the Graduate Business Programs Office, to submit an inquiry for any graduate assistant positions available on campus, and then we can assist you with that as well.
Cool. Araceli, very briefly as well.
Yeah, so I guess the type of experience that they can get while they're in the program is through internships, but then these are full-time internship positions. So this is usually, as I mentioned, in the summer or in the customized phase of the program. But then some students will receive full-time offers while they're still enrolled at HEC. And then, of course, upon graduation, they'll start their careers with that company.
Excellent. And just a final question here from Quinter as well. Thanks, Quinter, for participating here with us. On the COVID situation, is it a requirement for one to be vaccinated? I think this is a very popular question. Bill.
Maybe I can.
Yeah.
Okay, well, all right, go on, Araceli.
Oh, yeah, sure. So no, it's not a requirement for students to be vaccinated, but we do require the PCR test, a negative PCR test.
Cool. And in the US, Bill?
It's the exact same, yeah, as Araceli said. Here we don't require it. You just have to be, I believe they're going to have to do testing on campus, like I believe once a week prior to coming into the classroom.
Cool. All right, guys, that was it. Thank you so much for, did you like your experience here today with us? And Araceli? Well, was it went by so fast, right?
It surely did. Thank you so much for inviting me to be part of this panel.
It was a great experience. Thanks so much for accepting our invitation here from the student world to join this episode of the Prime Choices. Again, when it comes to MBA, HEC is one of the top, and just same thing as Loyola. So having you guys here, it's so nice, really, really, really nice. So thanks, Araceli, for accepting our invitation. Bill, thanks so much for joining us here today. Hope you have enjoyed.
Oh yes, definitely. Thank you so much for having us here. It was a lot of fun.
Cool. All right, guys. And so thanks a lot. And I hope to see you in the next opportunity here at the Student World. All right.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
so much.
Bye. That was it. That was another episode of the Student World Prime Choices. Today we explore MBA programs. Now it's up to you to take your best pick. Did you like more what you heard from Loyola Marymount University in Los Angeles? Did you like more what you heard from HEC Paris? Could you picture yourself living in Paris or living in Los Angeles? Tell us, all right? Thank you so much again for joining us here. Don't forget to give us your thumbs up if you like what you've seen, thumbs down if you didn't like what you see. Any kind of interaction that comes from you that can tell us if we are in the right path or not is super, super welcome. Okay, so thanks Quinter, thanks Svan, thanks Norma, thanks Oma, thanks to everybody that joined us on this beautiful evening here on this Wednesday, and we'll see you next week on the Prime Choices next Wednesday. All right. Don't forget to subscribe and to follow us here, as the screen is reminding me, on Instagram as well. Every day we're posting something different. We want to help you find your study abroad opportunity. So, yep, we hope to see you again soon. All right. That was it. The student world, whatever you want to study, we know how to get you there.